Washington is becoming the epicenter of the NFL's most explosive drama, but no one is talking about what's really happening in Ashburn. While everyone is looking elsewhere, the Commanders are building something that will completely change the landscape of the NFC East. But here's the craziest part. We've got a 7th-round rookie stealing the show, an offensive connection breaking all defensive schemes, and a contract drama that could explode at any moment. If you think you know this organization, you're completely wrong. Stay until the end because what you're about to hear will change your perspective on this season. And if you truly love the burgundy and gold, like this video and subscribe because you'll need to be here for everything that's coming. I can't believe we're here again. But Terry McLaurin is requesting a trade from Washington. And you know what? After everything this guy has done for this organization, after 5 consecutive seasons with over 1,000 receiving yards, after leading the team with 82 receptions for 1,096 yards and 13 touchdowns last season, I completely understand why he's making this decision. But let me explain exactly what's happening here, because this isn't just a story about money. This is a story of respect, loyalty, and how an organization treats its top players when things get tough. Terry McLaurin came to Washington in 2019 as a 3rd-round pick from Ohio State, and from day one, he became the face of the Commanders' offense. 1,250 yards in his rookie season, 1,001 yards in 2020, 1,253 yards in 2021. Then he signed that 3-year, $68 million deal in 2022, which at the time seemed like a great move for both the player and the organization. But do you know what happened since then? The receiver market has gone completely crazy. Cooper Kupp is making $15 million per year. Stefon Diggs just got $14 million annually. DK Metcalf is at $16 million. And here we have Terry McLaurin, who has been more consistent than any of these names, stuck in a contract paying him less than $23 million per year. And don't tell me it's just about money. I'll tell you why it's much more than that. Terry McLaurin has been the only constant in this organization over the past 5 years. He's had to play with Taylor Heinicke, Carson Wentz, Sam Howell, and finally found his quarterback in Jaden Daniels. He's been professional during the worst stretches of this franchise. He's represented Washington with class both on and off the field. Deebo Samuel, who went through the exact same situation with San Francisco in 2022, publicly defended Terry. And you know what Deebo said, "I've been through that, so I know the stress it causes. I know where it takes your mind. It's a lot to deal with." And let me tell you this, when a player of Deebo Samuel's caliber comes out to defend you publicly, it's because he knows exactly what you're going through. But here's what bothers me most about this whole situation. Deebo also said, "I'd love to see Terry here. I'd love to go out and play with him, but the business side of things, they have to align both sides of the story." Did you hear that? Deebo is literally saying he'd be willing to play alongside Terry McLaurin. That's the level of respect he has among his peers in the league. And let me remind you of something. When Deebo did the exact same thing in San Francisco, do you know what happened? The 4'9" Ertz recognized his value and gave him a 3-year, $73.5 million contract. And what happened next? Deebo remained a core piece of one of the best offenses in the NFL. But do you think Adam Peters is going to let Terry McLaurin go just like that? I think you're crazy if you think that. This man is in the last year of a contract that no longer reflects his value in the current market. And let me ask you something. How many receivers in this league have had 5 consecutive seasons with over 1,000 yards? How many have been the face of the franchise during the most challenging years of this organization? Let's talk numbers because numbers don't lie. Terry McLaurin has 463 receptions in 5 seasons, 5,549 receiving yards, 41 touchdowns. He's averaged over 90 receptions per season in the last 2 years. And his 2024 season was the best of his career. 82 receptions, 1,096 yards, 13 touchdowns. But here comes what really worries me about this situation. If Peters lets Terry McLaurin go, what message? Is he sending to Jaden Daniels? Jaden just had his best chemistry with a receiver since arriving in the NFL, and now that receiver could be playing for another organization. What message is he sending to the rest of the team? What message is he sending to future free agents who might consider coming to Washington? I'm telling you this, you can't build a winning culture if you don't respect the players who have carried this organization on their shoulders for years. And Terry McLaurin hasn't just led this offense. He's been an ambassador for the organization. He's done community work. He's been a role model for rookies. He's kept quiet during the most challenging moments of this franchise without complaining. Publicly, the problem here isn't Terry McLaurin. The problem is that this organization has taken too long to recognize the value of its best offensive player. While Jerry Jones is paying millions to players who haven't produced half of what Terry has, and while the Eagles are handing out contracts to receivers who haven't proven anything, we have the most consistent receiver in the division asking for a trade. And here's what worries me the most, the timing. We're a week away from joint practices starting. The first preseason game is on Friday. The regular season is less than a month away. If Washington is going to resolve this situation, it has to be now. They can't enter the regular season with this distraction hanging over the team. And let me be clear about something. I don't blame Terry McLaurin for any of this. He's fulfilled his part of the contract. He's produced at an elite level. He's been professional in every aspect of his career. If he feels he deserves more money, I tease because he does. And if the organization isn't willing to pay him, then he's every right to seek that money elsewhere. But as a Washington fan, as someone who's seen this organization make mistake after mistake in handling talent, I hope that Adam Peters is smarter than his predecessors. I hope he understands that losing Terry McLaurin will be a monumental mistake that could affect not only this season, but the future of Jaden Daniels and the entire direction of this franchise. If that surprises you, wait until you hear this. But here comes the really crazy part. While everyone is talking about the Terry drama, Jaden Daniels and Zach Ertz are creating a connection that will be unstoppable this season. And I was there at Saturday's training camp, and what I saw has me completely convinced that this duo is going to be the nightmare of the entire NFC East. But before I talk about what I saw at practice, let me explain why this connection is so special and why it will be fundamental to Washington's success. This season, Zach Ertz came to Washington last year after tough seasons in Arizona and Philadelphia. Many thought his best days were behind him, that he no longer had the explosiveness or reliability that had made him one of the best tight ends in the league. But they were completely wrong. Last season, Ertz had 74 receptions for 166 yards and 7 touchdowns. But those numbers don't tell the whole story. What really matters is when he made those receptions. On third downs, Ertz was the most reliable player for Jaden Daniels. In the red zone, he was unstoppable. In crucial moments of the game, when Daniels needed someone to trust, there was Zach Ertz. And now, after a full season working together, after developing that chemistry and mutual trust, what we're seeing at training camp is the next level of that connection. Let me paint the scene of what I saw on Saturday. Red zone, the defense brings an all-out blitz. Jaden backs up under pressure and sends a perfect cross-field pass straight into the hands of Zach Ertz for a touchdown. That's burgundy and gold, baby. That play reminded me why this organization drafted Jaden Daniels in the first place. But that wasn't the only spectacular connection I saw. Throughout practice, every time Daniels was in trouble, every time the pressure came, he knew exactly where to find Ertz, whether in short routes over the middle, in scrambles where Ertz adjusted his route to be available, or in red zone situations where Ertz found the gaps in coverage. And do you know why this connection works so well? Because both players are students of the game. Ertz has seen everything in his 11 years in the NFL. He's played in Super Bowls. He's been all-pro. He's seen every possible defensive coverage. And Daniels, despite being relatively young in the league, has a game understanding that goes beyond his experience. When Daniels leaves the pocket, Ertz knows exactly where to position himself. When there's zone coverage, Ertz finds the open spaces. When there's man coverage, Ertz uses his experience and route running to create separation. And Daniels has learned to completely trust Ertz's ability to be where he needs to be. But here's what has me more excited. This connection isn't limited to crisis situations. During Saturday's practice, I saw Daniels looking for Ertz in first and second down situations as well. I saw him using Ertz as his first option in some plays, not just as a safety valve. And let me talk about another play I saw that has me completely convinced of the potential of this offense. Jaden completed a perfect slot fade to Luke McCaffrey with a direct blitz in his face. That play was his signature move in college at LSU, and no one could stop it. But what I loved about that play wasn't just the execution, but the timing. Daniels knew the blitz was coming, knew he had to get the ball out quickly, and fully trusted that McCaffrey would be where he needed to be. Do you see what's happening here? Daniels isn't just developing chemistry with one player. He's developing chemistry with multiple options in different situations. Ertz for reliability and red zone situations. McCaffrey for explosive plays. And when Terry McLaurin is available, he'll be the deep threat that completes the entire offensive package. But back to Ertz. Let me explain why I think he's going to have a historic season. Last year, he was new to the system. He was learning Cliff Kingsbury's offense. He was developing chemistry with a rookie quarterback. And yet, he produced solid numbers. Now, with a full year in the system, with established chemistry with Daniels, and with an offense designed to maximize his strengths, I believe we're going to see numbers that will surprise the entire league. Do you think the Cowboys have an answer? For that, Dallas has issues with linebacker coverage. Can the Eagles cover both Ertz and McCaffrey at the same time? Philadelphia has had problems in its secondary. Will the Giants be able to match the speed and precision of this connection? New York is in rebuilding mode defensively. I'm telling you this offense is going to be completely different from anything we've seen in Washington in years. And the Daniels-Ertz connection will be the foundation of everything Cliff Kingsbury wants to do offensively. But here's something that has me even more excited. During practice, I saw Ertz working not just as a receiver, but as a mentor for the younger players. I saw him talking to the rookie tight ends. I saw him helping Daniels with pre-snap reads. I saw him communicating with the offensive line about protections. That's leadership. That's what you need from a veteran in an offense trying to take the next step. And when you combine that leadership with on-field production, you have a recipe for success that goes far beyond just individual stats. And while Von Miller looks fast and explosive in practice, creating constant pressure that's helping the offense improve its timing under pressure, and while Michael Gallup is making spectacular 35-yard receptions, demonstrating that this offense has depth at the receiver position, the entire secondary is making incredible plays that are pushing the offense to be more precise and creative. Trey Amos had an impressive deflection against Deebo Samuel. Noah Igbinoghene made a jumping deflection showcasing his athleticism. Jonathan Jones had a clean pass breakup. Quan Martin made a diving interception on an overthrown pass aimed at Ben Sinnott. Mike St. Risto and Martian Lattimore also had deflections and important stops. Do you see what's happening here? The offense is being challenged every day by a defense playing at a high level, and that's causing both units to raise their game. Daniels is learning to make more precise throws under pressure. Ertz is having to be more creative in his routes. And the entire offense is developing a competitive mindset that will be crucial when real game situations arise. But that's nothing compared to what's coming. And when you thought we were done, we have a 7th-round rookie making the training camp his personal show. Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, the 245th pick of the 2025 draft, is the sensation of Ashburn. And I'm telling you this guy's going to surprise the entire league. But to truly understand the incredible nature of this story, I have to take you back to the beginning and explain exactly what this young man has had to overcome to get where he is now. Krosky Merritt's story begins in high school, where he was one of the brightest prospects in college football. College scouts followed him everywhere. He had offers from some of the most prestigious programs in the country. He was the kind of running back everyone wanted on their team, explosive, smart, with a natural vision to find holes in the defense. He initially committed to one program, but after changes in the coaching staff, he decided to transfer to Arizona, where he thought he had the best opportunity to showcase his talent and prepare for the NFL draft. Everything seemed perfect. Had a great spring practice. The coaches were excited about what he could bring to the program. Fans were expecting big things. And then came the devastation. The NCAA, in one of those bureaucratic decisions that sometimes destroy dreams, revoked his eligibility one game after he started playing for Arizona. It wasn't for anything he did wrong. It wasn't for academic reasons. It wasn't for behavioral issues. It was just a technicality related to his transfer that the NCAA decided to enforce at the worst possible moment. Imagine what that means for a young athlete. You've worked your entire life to get to this point. You've sacrificed everything. You've moved across the country. You've left your family, your friends, everything familiar. And then, just when you think you're about to prove yourself on the biggest stage, everything gets taken away from you for something completely outside of your control. His draft stock, which had been projected somewhere in the middle rounds, completely collapsed. Teams that had been interested suddenly started looking elsewhere. Scouts who had been following him started focusing on other prospects. From being a potential steal in the 4th or 5th round, suddenly Krosky Merritt was facing the very real possibility of going undrafted. But here's where the story becomes really interesting, and where Adam Peters and the Washington scouting staff showed exactly why they're building something special in this organization. While other teams were scared off by the NCAA situation, while other scouts decided it was too much of a risk, Peters and his team did their homework. They watched every single snap Krosky Merritt had played before the eligibility issue. They talked to his high school coaches. They talked to his coaches at Arizona. They talked to teammates. They did psychological evaluations. They looked at his character, his work ethic, his response to adversity. And what they found was a young man who had been dealt an incredibly unfair hand, but who never let it break his spirit. Instead of giving up, instead of becoming bitter, instead of blaming everyone else for his situation, Krosky Merritt doubled down on his training. He kept working out. He kept studying film. He kept preparing as if he was going to get another opportunity. When the draft came, Peters made the decision to select him with the 245th overall pick in the 7th round. It was a risk, absolutely. But it was a calculated risk based on talent evaluation and character. Assessment that's now looking like one of the steals of the entire draft. And do you know what's happening now at training camp? This rookie, lovingly called Bill by his teammates. And nobody really knows why. But that's the type of organic chemistry that builds within a team, is destroying the defense in every practice. Josh Taylor, who was covering Saturday's training camp, specifically mentioned that rookie Kane Medrano had a nice pass breakup. But when it comes to offensive players making an impact, the name that keeps coming up over and over again is Jaquarii Krosky Merritt. Explosiveness that scouts saw in high school is completely on display. His vision to find holes in the defense is as sharp as ever. But what's most impressive is his football IQ and his ability to adjust to different defensive looks. He's not just a guy who runs fast and hard. This is a student of the game who understands blocking schemes, who can read linebackers, who knows when to hit the hole and when to bounce outside. During practices, teammates and coaches have been raving about his work ethic. He's always one of the first players in the facility. He stays late to get extra reps. He's constantly asking questions, trying to understand every detail of the offensive system. And more importantly, he's earning respect from veteran players who appreciate the way he approaches every single snap as if it might be his last. Brian Robinson Jr., who is expected to be the starter at running back, has been mentoring Krosky Merritt and helping him understand the professional expectations. And instead of seeing him as competition, Robinson has embraced the rookie and is helping him develop. That speaks volumes about both Robinson's character and Krosky Merritt's approach to being a professional. But here's what really has me excited about this young man's potential. He's not just performing well in practice. He's performing well in the specific situations that matter most for a rookie trying to make the roster. Special teams coverage, short yardage situations, goal line packages, all the areas where a 7th-round pick needs to excel to earn a spot on the active roster. Cliff Kingsbury, who has worked with some of the most explosive offensive players in the NFL, has been specifically impressed with Krosky Merritt's ability to pick up the offensive system. Kingsbury's offense requires running backs who can do more than just carry the ball. They need to understand route concepts. They need to be reliable in pass protection. They need to be versatile enough to line up in different positions. And from everything I'm hearing from people inside the organization, Krosky Merritt is checking all those boxes. But let me tell you what really convinced me that this young man is going to make an impact this season. During one of the recent practices, there was a specific play where the first-team defense was bringing pressure, and Krosky Merritt not only identified the blitz correctly, but he also made the proper adjustment in his route running to give Daniels an outlet option. That's advanced football knowledge for any player, let alone a rookie who missed significant time due to the Ennis situation. Believe that the Commanders have an absolute steal on their hands. When was the last time you saw a 7th-round pick generate this much hype? When was the last time an underdrafted rookie became such an inspirational story for the fans? And here's what's most impressive about all this. Krosky Merritt isn't settling. After everything he's passed through to get here, he's approaching every practice, every carry, every play with the same intensity. He knows that nothing's guaranteed. He knows he has to earn every snap, every opportunity. And now I ask you, do you think Cliff Kingsbury isn't going to find creative ways to use this guy in his offensive system? Kingsbury built his reputation on maximizing talent, on finding ways to get explosive players the ball in space, on creating mismatches that defenses can't account for, with Brian Robinson Jr. providing the reliable between the tackles running. That gives you consistency, and with Krosky Merritt providing the explosive, game-changing potential that can break a play at any moment, Washington suddenly has a running back combination that could be one of the most dynamic in the entire league, while Von Miller continues to look fast and twitchy during practices, creating the type of pass rush that helped him become a Super Bowl champion. And while players like Dietrich Wise are showing vocal leadership and making spectacular plays from the defensive line, this rookie is creating his own space on the roster through pure performance and dedication. The fact that his teammates have already given him a nickname, the fact that veteran players are embracing him, the fact that coaches are finding ways to get him more reps, all these are indicators that this young man is not just going to make the roster, but that he's going to be a contributor from day one. So let's quickly recap. Drama, chemistry, inspiration. Those are the three words defining what's happening in Washington right now. McLaurin is asking for the economic respect he completely deserves after 5 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons and being the face of this franchise during its most difficult years. Daniels and Ertz are creating magic on the field that will be the foundation of an offense that could surprise everyone in the NFC East. And Krosky Merritt is writing a story that reminds us why we love this game. Because sometimes talent and determination can overcome any obstacle. This isn't just another preseason story. This is a window into what this organization is building under Adam Peters and Dan Quinn. This is a glimpse into the future of Washington football. And if you're not paying attention right now, you're going to miss one of the most important seasons in recent franchise history. The Terry McLaurin, Drama will define how this organization handles its star players going forward. The connection between Daniels and Ertz will determine how quickly this offense can become elite. And the story of Jaquarii Crosky-Merritt will show us whether this coaching staff can truly maximize talent regardless of where players were drafted or what obstacles they face. And I guarantee that tomorrow we'll have more explosive news because this organization is constantly in motion. Joint practices start this week. The first preseason game is on Friday. Every single day between now and the regular season will bring new developments, new storylines, new reasons to be excited about what's coming. You can't miss what's coming because each day brings us closer to a season that will define this franchise's future. This isn't just about wins and losses. This is about establishing a culture, proving that Washington can compete with anyone in the NFC East, and showing that this organization finally has the leadership and vision to build something sustainable. Like this video if you think Peters should pay Terry McLaurin what he deserves, because after 5 years of elite production and representing this franchise with class, he has earned the right to be compensated like the top-tier receiver he is. Subscribe if you think the Daniels-Ertz connection will dominate the NFC East, because the chemistry they're developing could be the key to unlocking the full potential of Cliff Kingsbury's offensive system. And let me know in the comments, do you think Jaquarii Crosky-Merritt is going to be the steal of the draft? Should Terry stay and get paid what he deserves, or should he seek his money elsewhere if Washington won't step up? And what are you expecting from this offense with all these moving pieces? Daniels developing chemistry with multiple targets, Ertz providing veteran leadership, and potential breakout stars like McCaffrey and Crosky-Merritt ready to make an impact? Because this community is a family, and we need to stay together while navigating all these emotions and expectations for the coming season. We've been through the tough years together. We've celebrated the small victories together. And now, as this organization finally seems to be moving in the right direction, we need to support each other and stay engaged with every development. If you truly love the burgundy and gold like I do, join this family by subscribing to the channel. Because this season is going to be special, and you're going to want to be part of every moment, every update, every breakthrough that leads us to what could finally be a return to relevance in the NFL. And remember, hail to the Redskins.